It was nice, to bring you lighter royal stories, particularly in these very dark times. I mean, it does seemingly, doesn't it, that we have nothing but arguments, bad press, and of course the sad demise of our wonderful monarch of 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II. But there are also lighter stories, let me tell you, particularly when you look back, of course, at the wonderful floral tributes that so many people left behind in her honour. I mean, when you think about it, thousands and thousands of flowers. Over here, just, by Westminster Abbey, there were just thousands of bouquets, all with loving inscriptions and very kind words. Really, people can be so kind. But a lot of people have been asking me, well, what happens to the flowers? Well, sadly, it's impossible to scoop them up in time where they're still in life and take them off to somewhere like a hospice or a hospital or just people that need cheering up. Flowers can do that, can't they? Don't know about you, but anybody receiving any flowers, their face just lightens up instantly. I think it's a lovely gesture for anybody. But, of course, these sadly had decided to decompose. So what do the royal gardeners do with them? Well, we can tell you that there's really no waste, because I think this is a lovely thing as well. All the flowers are scooped up and then they are sort of moulded back into compost and fed back into the bedding gardens, the bedding plant areas of all the royal residences like Buckingham Palace, Balmoral, Windsor Castle. I think it's a lovely tribute for all of those that were kind enough to donate and leave flowers in all these momentous areas, to know that actually some good does go from that. And when you think about it, the people that are doing that, the Royal Parks gardeners, have a lot of work to do, because literally they were thousands upon thousands. But as ever, things live on. So if you did donate flowers and you're wondering what happens to them, well, when you come back maybe next spring and you smell those beautiful flowers in the bedding areas around Buckingham Palace and Windsor, well, you played a part in that. And here's a man who really had some great royal connections. We're talking, of course, about a man that really, when you think about it, if you can afford it, really knows how to give you a luxurious dinner or indeed a wonderful afternoon tea. He is the executive head chef of the Ritz Hotel in London, a royal favourite which has seen our late monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, dine there. Of course, His Majesty the King, King Charles III, alongside his Queen Consort, Camilla, and many others. If you haven't been in the Ritz, it is a spectacular location. And more importantly, what I would say is, if you come to London, just go in. It doesn't cost anything to sit in the foyer, sit in the lounge. Just look around and think of all the wonderful people that have trotted down that very expensive carpet. But the man that makes the actual place memorable, as I say, is the executive chef, John Williams. Now, he recently picked up an award by the AA for excellence after a 40-year career. As he pointed out, when they start giving out lifetime achievements, the end is nigh. He's got a very blunt northern sense of humour, which I like. But when I was interviewing him, I asked him, who's the most daunting people that you've cooked for? Was it in fact Her Majesty the Queen? And he said, actually no, she was very easy to cook for, because the royal chefs came down and explained the things that she liked and didn't like. But he said, none too fussy, not bothered at all. In fact, the person he was most terrified of was the former Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Margaret Thatcher MP. 3 times, of course, British Prime Minister and the very first female Prime Minister here in the United Kingdom. I said, well, why were you terrified of her? And he said, well, it wasn't so much being terrified. He said, but when we had a meeting, because they were planning a very special 70th birthday party, and they wanted to know, well, what would she like, etc. Her real one remit was, well, look, I like most of the food from Marks and Spencer's, but if I'm honest with you, I tend to put things in the microwave, and when it pings, I know it's ready. So if you can make something like that, and it's tasty, then I'll be happy. Of course, he can make food far superior to that. And apparently, get this, they get through over 1,000 biscuits a day of his fabulous shortbread recipe. And something, apparently, that our late monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, thoroughly enjoyed and left the hotel with a very special box with. So I don't know about you, but that's a really cheery story of someone that has cooked for so many people, including, as I say, Princess Margaret, the late Queen Mother. He has literally got his saucepan out for everybody. And I think more importantly, more than ever, deserves that recognition of 40 years in an excellent business. So let's all wish the head chef of the Ritz, John Williams, all the very best. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.